Okay, welcome to episode 3, I believe. We've survived episode 1 and 2. The feedback's been really positive and been really outstanding within the community. We've had some feedback in regards to the 3-quarter schooner glasses that we've been drinking, in regards to thank you to the Sportsman's Club for donating the facilities, not so much the beverages, but we might work on that. And the other side of that is that we are looking for sponsors in regards to the podcast, whether you want to jump on board and be a full season sponsor, or there's little short segments you can be as a sponsor of each episode as well. But also, if you've got some beverages that you want to highlight or sponsor, we put out there. And then the other side of it is that we also looking for any sponsors that want to jump on board, whether it be sponsoring our S&C, our strength and conditioning coach, our recovery. This platform allows us to be able to highlight that and promote it through that. So thank you to Hugh Clark for implementing and organising this podcast. So without further ado, we've got some special guests here tonight. We have Ethan Hearn. Welcome to the podcast, Ethan. Ethan is our under-19s coach at the seniors. Welcome, mate.
Thanks, mate.
You look a bit refreshed from your camp that you've been on.
Yeah, mate. It's good fun.
Good
well
fun,
rested.
righto. I will admit, when we get through the night a little bit, Dozer, your dad, and Gus have set the bar pretty high within the Hearn family in regards to how funny they think they are. And I just had feedback from Paula today that they aren't funny at all. But in regards to that, so we'll touch a little bit about the Hearn family in regards to the involvement with South right across the board. We'll get a bit more insight in regards to that as we go along. Also want to introduce Mark Wilkes, got a man of many hats. South Juniors, involved with the Western Clydesdales. Is there also a dad of young Mitchell, of 4 kids. Young Mitchell, who we have the privilege to work with in the seniors, has come up into the 19s and played A-grade last weekend in a trial game against Valley's doing an outstanding job. Very, very good man. So welcome to the show, mate. Hopefully we get a bit more of an insight into your background within South as well.
Yep, thanks for having me, Col. Can I just give a disclaimer first?
Sure.
Like if we go back in time and everything, my memory's not the best, though, so I'll apologise now if things get misstrued.
Okay, I like that word, distrued. Where did you pull that from?
I just made that up.
And also we have from the ladies, with South's ladies, we have Chelsea Middleton. Chelsea also comes with high credentials in regards to being a part of, I believe, the Western Clydesdales BMD this year. Appreciate you coming on board. That's and right. Welcome. We'll go through each individual and I'll get a background in regards to your involvement with rugby league and how you started and your family connection with South. We'll start with Ethan. We've got a bit of a background with Dozer last week. And he spoke, I don't want to put any pressure on you, but he just kept talking about Angus, how good he was. I'm not sure where you fit into the picture, mate. Can you tell me a little bit about where you started with your footy career and your involvement with South now?
Mate, I started in about 2004. I was about 6 years old, starting in under-7s and played there till under-12s. Did the unthinkable, went and played for the All Whites for about 10 years and made my way back in 2019 when KP took over and we tried to rebuild. So, I've been here probably nearly 15 years now.
Wow. And who was coaching at Brothers when you went over to Brothers?
Steve Beatros was one of my sort of main coaches. Mike Holman was over there, and when I got to first grade, I had John Dixon, Stumpy, Nick Patterson for a little while.
Quality coaches there, mate.
Yeah, mate, it was good.
Very good. And I imagine, like, we've spoken briefly, like we touched on it before, the other guests that we had on episode 2 was in regards to their mentors. You spoke highly of Stephen Beatros about how good he was as a coach and in and around his people skills within that as well. Can you give us a bit of an insight there, why he was such a good coach and such a good mentor?
Mate, Steve was someone who, he knew his footy. He'd played at a high level. He was obviously a good footballer in his day, but when it came to coaches, we were sort of getting up there in juniors, and he sort of treated us a little bit like men as well. He stopped treating us like kids. He started to put some expectation on us, and he got the best out of the individual. That was his strength.
Oh, very good. And it's a name associated with brothers for a very long time, the Beatrice family as well. I've had the luxury of coaching Sam, not only a good player, but a character within that as well, and that's what I love within those guys as well. So away from rugby league, your occupation, you're a school teacher out at Oakey, I believe? Yep. And you've just been on a camp. Can you enlighten us what the camp, where it was and what it was about?
Yeah, mate, school camp at Perseverance. The Year 7s and the Year 12s.
So I've been on a few camps, and I'd say you've got a fair bit of sleep over the last couple of nights. Is that correct?
Yeah, mate, very well rested.
So easy. Mate, we're great to have you on board. And like I said last, I think with the episode 1, where it's very grateful to have you coach the 19s, not only as with your knowledge as a coach, but also your personality as a person in regards to the people skills you've got, in regards to the relationship. You can see it with the players now that you've got out there as well, which is good. We might swing across to Mark, the man of many hats within rugby league within Toowoomba, originally from Charleville, I believe.
No, I'm originally from Toowoomba, actually, born and bred in Toowoomba.
Yep.
Moved to Charleville, 2003, we moved to Charleville. Now my wife, we were only dating at that stage. She just finished teaching, and she put down that she'd moved anywhere in Queensland, and I'd played football with South with Zorro, Sean Radnage, best mate of mine, and we'd been to Charleville a few times, and I just said to her, well, did you want to go to Charleville? And he said, yeah, righto. She said, we'll see, and I rang him up, and he said, went and seen the principal, and got her a job. So we went to Charleville. She was going to do a country service for 4 years, and yeah, anyway, 17 years later, and a couple of houses and 4 kids, and we packed up and come back again. So we've been back here now 7 years. So yeah,
wow,
time flies. But yeah, no, born and bred in Toowoomba originally. Yeah. So yeah.
And then with the name of the 4 kids.
Well, Mitch is the oldest.
Yep.
Tilly, she's under 17 girls. They all play for South. Then got Mason, he's under 15s, and then got Drew, he's under 14s.
Wow. And then I believe the 2 kids at the top have both been very honoured within regards to rep duties as well.
Yeah,
so
they're
very
both,
proud moment as a parent.
Yeah, they're both in the Clydesdale system at the moment, so yeah, having a job. But yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
And basically, like Mitch, where he's at, he just finished at St Mary's last year.
Yeah.
Taken on an occupation, apprenticeship.
No, well, he was going to do an apprenticeship with me, but he's gone out a different way. He's working a few different jobs. He's working at Metals R Us, and then he's also doing another job where he's doing sort of motor skills with kindy kids and stuff like that. That's what he's trying to get into. He's thinking about doing teaching, so he's doing that a few days a week. Yeah, so he's really liking that.
Very good, that.
Yeah.
Now, you had a bit of a snicker in regards to when he was potentially, might have been working for you, but was it a tough situation as in father-son working together? Or that might have been
it was, he's just like all kids. He had no idea what he wanted to do, and I said, well, lucky enough that I was a chippy, and I said I can give you an apprenticeship, and so he did school-based for a couple of years, and then just went, it's not for me, Dad, and I said, that's fine. So, no, it was all good. No dramas there.
No, I think I've been through the same situation. I think like there was a when my eldest, he finished up, there's this thing called the gap year. I'm not sure how long that gap goes for, but I think the best thing now is that they've got that many opportunities. They don't have to stick into one area like we possibly had to. Like back in those days, you took on a job, you stayed there for 10 years and another job for 10 years. Now they've got that many opportunities, and you take your hat off to them for exploring those opportunities and making the most of that as well.
They'll start jobs these days, and by the time they've finished their careers, those jobs they started in won't even exist. The way things are changing, so
that's a fair
they got to evolve. They just got to keep getting different things happening.
Yeah. So let's touch on. We haven't touched on it, but you, I've observed your training. You're an assistant. You coach the girls team, and then you're also involved with the under 17s. Am I correct, ladies?
Yeah.
At the Western Clydesdales?
This year I'm coaching helping Cam Worshing out with the 14 boys. We coach together there. And I coached in the 17 girls at South. And this year I was assistant coach with the 19 girls with the Clydesdales. So, yeah.
That's unbelievable, mate. It's all voluntarily, and then you spend it. You must be very passionate about the sport, and in regards to going across that. And the other thing is upskilling yourself as a coach and moving along there. I think the other thing that you've got to be given credit to. Like we've mentioned on the last 2 episodes, we look like ants on the fields at times, and your area for training is a 10x10 grid within the in-goal area down the far end, and you don't whinge, you don't bitch, whinge, or anything about that. Just get on it and you enjoy it.
I'm not sure about that. You saw me last Thursday. There was a bit of
there was a blow-up.
There was a bit of a blow-up last Thursday, but anyway, that wasn't with seniors. But yeah, anyway, no, you just do the best you can. I can't complain because I don't usually have too many girls there at this time of the year, so I just got to take what ground I can.
And from afar, I'm observing in there, watching your drills and skills and the coaching that you're doing. The majority of the skills that you're setting up are competitive fun, and the girls are learning something, and the enjoyment on their faces expressed with their enjoyment and how they're competing and doing it as well. So it's a credit to you in regards to that aspect as well, mate. Well done.
Thank you.
Too easy. Chelsea, tell us a little bit about yourself in regards to where your rugby league journey started, and where it's evolved to and where it's at now.
Well, I actually used to be dancer back from like 4 till 10, and then my dance school shut down, so I was like, I want to try something different, and my brother was a football player, so I was like,
he'll be happy with that.
Yeah, so I was like, I'll give that a go. So I started in under 12 boys for brothers, and then played all juniors, only 1 year of boys, and then played all the juniors and 1 year of open women's for brothers. Only played 1 year and then came over to South last year, and I've played 2 years for South women's now.
Fantastic. I'm trying to picture you as a dancer. I see some of the collision and the contact you do when we're doing opposed against the men, and the dancer side of it might be the footwork part of it, but the contact part is definitely not the dancer part. Okay, you really enjoy the contact part of it.
Yes.
The other side of it is maybe explain to the listeners, when you said like I played with the boys, what age group can girls play up to, and then they're not? Is it a cut-off age group, and then they come back at a later date? Is that correct? Am I correct in that, Mark? Or both of you?
Yeah, I think under 12s is the cut-off. Like, you can't play 13 and above.
Okay, you can't play the international age?
No.
And then you come back from there.
Yeah.
This year in juniors, they've actually just brought in under 11s girls. So
okay.
Yeah, so there's 11s girls competition, but same thing. The girls are encouraged to play still in the boys competition as well if they want to.
Okay.
They can just play girls as well. But yeah, so obviously you get better development the more footy they play. So if they can play under 11s and under 12s with the girls and with the boys, well, they go even better. But once they get to under 13s, well, they just play girls only.
That's great insight into that. Why South?
Well, I've always been a diehard Brothers fan, love Brothers or juniors, but seniors just wasn't for me. And most of my friends were over at South, and I was like, I just want to give something new a go. And I did like the family culture of South and all that, so I came over and really enjoyed it, and that's why I'm staying this year.
It's good that you touched on that, because it was one of the decisions that, or one of the feedbacks that I got was based on my decision or going there as well, and it's always been that. From the outside in, whether you were opposed or watching the club, it's always been that family culture in there as well. So within that, do you, like with the way that we've gone in recent, when we started our pre-season, how do you find the girls are fitting in with, with their club training and where it's at the start of the year?
I think it's good, especially when we train with the boys. I know I get so much out of training with the boys. And the girls, you can see, are really putting in this year. Like, they're really trying to fit in and learn as much as we can so we can actually take it onto the field, because I know the girls haven't been too great the last few years, and we're ready to change that. Like, we want to actually start winning this year. So, yeah.
How do you balance, so you've got rep footy, what nights you train for that?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Do you do any weights programs or anything within that? You got to do extras?
Yeah, we're supposed to do gym Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Now, you put in a loose word there. It said supposed to.
Well,
it's up to the individual, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you get a program and then you've got to go and do it on your own, in your own time.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's your coach there?
Coach for BMD is Nick Sargent.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. He's
twin brother of Mitch.
Yes.
There's a funny story there, but anyway, I'll go into it later. Yeah.
Very funny. Nick's a really good coach. Like, he really knows what he's talking about. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. And when's your season start for BMD?
June 2nd.
That's a long way away, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
and you haven't played any footy, you're not allowed to play footy, or they prefer you not to play footy?
I just think they'd prefer us not, look, I think we can, but they just don't want us getting injured in club and then for BMD not being able to play. But I think in season, if we're not named in BMD that week, we can come back to club and play club.
Okay, that's very easy.
Yeah.
How long does that season go for? June to September, does it?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's a very short.
Yep. I think we have 11 games, so 11 rounds plus finals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Whilst we're on the rep conversations of where we're at, congratulations to yourself in regards to Ethan Hearn to be selected as the league safe of the Toowoomba men's 47 Battalion team. Has that process started, or is it in progression, or can you give us a bit of an insight in how that's going?
Mate, I don't have a whole lot to update, to be honest. I think I got an email a couple of weeks back saying they'll be keeping us in the loop when there's more to say. But I think that's Anzac Day weekend.
Yep.
In and around that.
So the guys get an opportunity. They get selected into that squad. It's a combination of, say, Toowoomba, and I believe there's a few members from Southwest that might get selected in that. And then they've got an opportunity to play the Anzac weekend. And if they're successful in that, there's a Queensland country team that they potentially could get selected in. I think it may be June. It's mid-year this year, not at the end of the year. I guess any of the boys in whichever clubs put their hands up, and if they want to get selected, by all means, put their hands up and have a red hot crack at it, because it's a great concept. I've been involved with it, loved it, and I wish yourself and everybody within the 47 Battalion all the best within that, which is good.
Thanks, mate. Can't wait.
So easy. Sounds. How are your 19s? How are we going there? How are we progressing? And with the squad numbers, the players that we have, and we're just around the corner, round 1 against Warwick. It'll be a good insight to where we're at with those young men as well.
Yeah, mate. Really excited, actually. We've built up a pretty good side. We've brought in a lot of the quality players we could get out of the 17s from last year. We've added to that the 19s who hung around from last year, and obviously we've got Mitch, Dusty and Keegs who are playing in the Clydesdales 19 side. So bit of a combination there of juniors, seniors and rep footy. Obviously we lost Lockie Lyons to a broken leg the other day. Pretty unfortunate, but outside of that we've got some good depth to cover, injuries like that. And we brought in Chrissy Cleven back from Oakey.
Yep.
Who was a South junior. Went out there for a bit of a look and decided to come home for the year, and we'll bring him into the squad, mate. And I think we're looking really good.
Oh, that's good to hear. I think hopefully Chris has got the same sense of humour as his cousin Cliffy Tom Cleven's Lions. He's a character, Tommy. But I think from the club's perspective in regards to even the way, Dusty and Mitch, Keegan, Tyrese in particular as well, have all fitted in with the A. Not only they've had an opportunity to play within the trials, but also at training. They seem to be enjoying it, or appear to be enjoying it, and they're fitting in really well. And not only that, they seem to have the respect of the other players that's there as well. We touched on it before. There doesn't seem to be anyone else that's bigger than, better than anyone else within the club at this stage, so which is good. Just touching on Lockie Lyons, I believe the clubs, you've been in touch with the family, and we wish them all the best with their recovery. It's a tough, long road home, and hopefully the young man stays involved with the rugby league. He had so much potential and ability, and he's a great young man that we had around the club. So hopefully that continues to we keep in touch there as well. So, Mark, we got Wilkes here. We're going to go round 1 against Warwick, and traditionally we've played for the Mark Brown Memorial Trophy. From all reports, he was an absolute champion bloke. Can you enlighten the listeners or give us a bit of insight into Mark Brownlee as a person, as a player, and his contribution not only with Warwick, but also with South and your involvement with him as well?
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough to play with Brownie for a few years. He's just one of those blokes. He was just a clubman. He was a footballer, a good bloke. He probably, and I'm not knocking the bloke, he probably wasn't the best trainer in the world. He was probably, but he was all right when he got on the paddock. Don't get me wrong, he could play, but he didn't mind the extracurricular activities that came with football, let's put it that way. But, yeah, when chips were down, he was a good player and he was just a good bloke, and it was just, yeah, one of those sad things that he's not with us anymore. It's just a shame, but, yeah.
I think that it's great that we showcase our in remembrance to our former players through these memorial trophies. My 3 years out at Warwick, it was highlighted really well out there in regards to Mark Brownlee. You had the Baz Nolan, you had the Barrett Shield. These are all, I think they're great, self-reflection of what those people brought to their clubs and their families as well. And it shows that we're paying respect back to their families and what we're doing there as well. So thanks for that insight, and really appreciate it. And we just hopefully we give the credibility that the trophy deserves and the shield that it deserves. And we want the hospitality around the family that attend on that. We give them what they deserve as well, which is good. Thank you for that insight, mate. Really appreciate that. We're just going to fast forward a little bit here. We're just going to go off track a little bit. We're going to look at our funniest moment that we potentially could have had within rugby league, on the field, around those areas. If we could maybe touch on that. I was throwing it a bit left field there, but we want to have a little bit of a think about it, or we go for it. Chelsea, any funny moments?
I've actually got one.
All right.
Back when I played with the boys, it was the first try I ever got. I ran down the field and thought the 10-metre line was the try line. So dove over, put the ball on the line, and then got up and was celebrating, and then that's a knock on. So that was so embarrassing. Anyway.
Did you look around and see if anyone was looking and try to play on?
Yep. And then I thought everyone was cheering with me, and everyone was like, "You just knocked it off." Anyway, yeah.
Don't feel bad, Chelsea. I did that in under 10s too.
Under 10s as well.
Oh, good.
Dear. Ethan? Wilkesy?
Gee whiz, where do we stop and
There's
start?
probably ones that we could probably put on air, and there's ones we can't. So.
Yeah, we'll stick to the ones on the field. They're probably better, I suppose. I do remember a day that stands out to me was one day we played Gatton at Toowoomba Park. That's I'm showing how old I am now. And it was one of those days, winter days, it just rained and it rained and it rained, and they started, back then it was 17s and 19s, reserve grade, A grade, and it was raining the start of 17s, and it rained all through 19s, and it was just wet, and you didn't realise how wet it was, and then reserve grade played, and we were in the sheds to get ready to play. By the time we came out onto the field, there was just a patch around the outside that was just a green ring around the outside. The whole field was just chewed up like you could not believe. And you just ran onto the field, and your boots were covered with mud, like from the moment you ran out to the whole thing, it was just mud. And I'll never forget, and I used to like playing in the wet because I wasn't the fastest player, so I thought it was great. But whereas my mate, like Dean McCarthy, Choicey, we'll give him a bit of a payout here, he wasn't so keen on the mud anyway. So by the time we got the first scrum, which wasn't very far into the game, I was just absolutely crap all over me everywhere. And here's Choicey, he was pristine, he was clean as, he was going like this, and I went over to get into the second row with him and hang on to him, and he's going, oh, let's get away, sort of thing. But anyway, he grew into it anyway. But yeah, so that was a funny day, but we were actually just rucking the ball up. I don't know how we got away with it. We were rucking the ball up. We scored first, lucky enough, so we got to the front. We won the game 6-4, but we're actually by the halfway through the game, we were just taking the ball forward and we were just diving at their feet. So trying to slide through, pick up again and run again. It was just an absolute mess. It was, that was a funny sort of day.
Unbelievable. I think it was interesting in regards to even last year with the wet weather we had. I remember we played out at Warwick, we played Highfields. And no word of a lie, within 5 minutes behind us on the reserve bench, there was 6 ducks swimming in a pond behind us. It was just that much water and slush and everything else around us as well. So, just a couple of little reflections, I think, or funny moments, but the two different sides of it. I had the pleasure of recruiting some Englishmen down when I was coaching Coffs Harbour, and the English players are they're great characters. There's a what do you call it? Their political correctness goes out the back doors when they enjoy themselves with a few beverages or whatever. And nudity is a part of their what would you call it, their background as well. They enjoy that. Not so much. So basically, I went and seen them one day. It was midday, about 1 o'clock in the evening, and I walked up what we used to call the British Embassy, which was about 100 metres from the Coffs Harbour, Holy Moly. It was a building that they restored and renovated and turned it into their own. And I made a rookie error. I got in between the two doorways of where they actually lived, and both of them came out with not a stitch on. And they wanted to hug me in front of everyone, like on the park. This is like 12 o'clock, and there's traffic going past and everything. I thought about jumping the 2 stories, but anyway, that was a very awkward moment with the 2 Englishmen I had. But it was a funny moment off the field, one that I don't really disclose and discuss too much. But the other part was, it was interesting last year with the school side. We went down with Mitchy Corner down to Lockyer Valley, and there was a character there in year 7. We just finished a game and come back, and then Mitchy got them all together to do a warm-up. And big fella, I won't name who he is, walked over with a double-barrel ice cream on each side of it. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "It'll be right, sir. I'll finish. I'll do the warm-up in a minute." He ate the ice cream through the warm-up, and then he went out and played. Let's just say I don't think his pre-game nutrition helped him with his performance, but it was a funny moment that I just shook my head. I've never seen that before in a footy game. But anyway, Ethan, over to you.
Mate, I've been on some of the great Mad Mondays with a few blokes who will go down as all-timers. I think Gus mentioned Wade Austin, Isaac Laird were some of the best. There was a day where we were playing at Brothers, and we probably weren't a great side at the time. We'd signed an ex-NRL halfback who was a really good footballer. And he threw a short ball, and it went to ground, and it was knocked down by a Highfields player. And the touch judge has just called knock on, and this halfback has looked at the touch judge, he's looked at me, said, "I'll see you in 10, and then delivered one of the best sprays I've ever seen a 17-year-old kid cop. And yeah, he was gone for the next 10 minutes.
Talk about the banner and the sledging around. So, like, even within the TRL, like, there's a certain player that, I'll name him, Tommy Hatch. He can hold his own, with a sledge. I remember this time when he told me this story about this certain player wanted to have a crack at him in regards to the game he was going to be playing against him, and Tommy said to him, "Well, mate, that's not going to work." He said, "Because I play at 2 o'clock and you play at 1. And he just left it at that. It was just like, wow, that's cutting. So it was pretty good. Yeah. So Chelsea, with your rep commitments, you're playing club footy. What occupation do you have in the middle?
I'm a personal trainer at the Fit Lab.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's hard. Well,
so we won't share that with Zach Rubb at the moment. We won't tell him that. Okay. So
yes. So
well done. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Have
thanks.
you finished? You're a personal trainer, PD?
Yeah. Yep.
Great work. They do a great job down there.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Well, if they want to come on board as a sponsor, you're wearing this shirt, you're doing all the gear. That's an interesting. Yeah. I'll have a chat to Chris, see if he'll come on board.
Yeah, I reckon.
It'll be good. So, Mark, what do you do as an occupation, mate?
Yeah, I'm a builder, chippy. Yep, work for myself. Yeah.
Plenty of work?
Yeah, enough work, eh? Yeah.
Toowoomba's booming?
Yeah, booming enough for me anyway. I've got enough to do in between coaching, put it that way.
That's good. Heath, how do you balance between school teaching, coaching, relationship, family life? How do you find the balance?
Mate, it's good. It's not that different, to be honest. I go to 19s, and I've got year 7 kids who they use more common sense than some of these 19 boys. So it's not dissimilar to leave school and go to footy training and deal with those sort of blokes. But no, mate, it works really well. The club's really supportive. My family's obviously pretty heavily involved, so quite often the family time is the footy time anyway. So
how good is that? Mentors, we touched on in and around in regards to our own profession and what we do in regards to coaching, and then our occupations and what we do within the clubs and that. Mark, who would you relate to as a mentor within your coaching?
Well, when you look at like the coaches I had and who I regard as good coaches, you probably, if you say to someone who was a good coach you had, and they say blah blah blah, whoever, and you say what did they teach you, and they can't say what they taught you. It's not about what they taught you; it's how they treated you and what they did for you and how they made you feel. And so in my books, the two best that I had over the time was Scotty Kerneman. Definitely, he's my number one. I was lucky enough that he was one of my best mates, and I was lucky enough that he coached me. Just champion bloke. And the other one is Mark Barrett. I was a brothers junior, well, all whites junior back in the day, and he coached me in 18s. And then how the wheels turned, funny enough it is, well, he came to South and got lucky enough to get to play with him, and that's where we won in 96. He was there, but then in, I think it would have been 1998, he coached A grade. He coached me in A grade, so that was pretty neat. He coached me again. But yeah, I suppose now I'm people that you learn stuff from, like lucky enough to be in the Clydesdale system and you want to learn all the time. Chelsea said on before was Nick Sargent. He's lucky enough to do a little bit with Mitch before, but Nick, he's pretty passionate and he's all over it. I like the way he coaches, and he's
Is his
cool.
people skills is probably the people management?
His people skills, just the way he runs the session, just keeps everything moving. When you're on from the start to the go, but he's still, you know where you're at with him and you know what he wants out of you, and everyone seems to be on the same page sort of thing. Yeah, so I like the way he runs it. Yeah.
Good. You just touched on Mark Barrett, and then am I correct in saying that you were a part of the successful four?
Yeah.
That won all four grand finals?
Yep. Lucky enough.
Yeah. Where did you fit in there? A grade, reserve grade?
No, I was in A grade.
Right.
I was on the bench for A grade. Yeah. I think I was 14. Yeah, number 14. Yeah. So it was a pretty cool day. Like I heard you talking about it last podcast, but I always remember the day that it was neat because I used to run water for Bootsy in the 19, so we 17s won, 19s won. And then we went into the sheds and, we didn't know how's reserve grade going. And the boys come in and said, yeah, reserve grade 1, no pressure. And then it sort of go, shit. We got this is fair dinkum, this is. And we probably shouldn't have won it. And I don't tell Dobby that, but anyway, we come from behind and Lyndon McGinn, intercept try, length of the field. And that was Dobby's first year in the comp. And they were pretty pumped up to win it and they were pretty all over it. But, yeah, we got them in the end, so that's the way it goes.
It's a funny correlation there in regards to when you said, you ran the water for the night, was it 19s or 18s back then?
19s, it was 17s and 19s back then, I think. Yeah, I was with the 19s, I think I always, look back now, I always wanted to get into coaching, so I love being around and trying to help and learn and along the way. Yeah, so that's where I sort of first started back then.
Well, it's interesting because that still carries on within our club now, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You have Angus running the water for you, Braith Astis every now and again helps out, and you back it up and you help out with the seniors as well. So that tradition continues on. So is there parts of you nervous about the reunion or looking forward to it, or you're a bit worried about how it could pan out with some of the characters we have coming back for that?
I lay pretty low, it's all right. It's fine with me.
You talked about Zorro there before. It's a credit to the man to what he's achieved and where he's at now in regards to the Mayor of Charleville.
Yeah.
No doubt we'll get him on. He doesn't mind a bit of a chat in regards to a podcast or a Zoom chat.
You could run about 6 episodes, isn't it? At least.
But once again, is that Southwest connection in regards to country rugby league players coming down to play with South, and I think that good person within that comes to the club as well. That helps with the country family culture that we've got there now at the moment, which is evident within with what we're trying to achieve. Chelsea, mentor?
I'd probably have to say both Nick and Mitch Sargent for me.
Okay.
Personally.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like Mitch more than Nick has kind of, because he worked with the NRL, has been there for me since I've been growing up. Coming here and there to help coach. And then first year at BMD, I wasn't in it. This third year of BMD. But we still train as 19s. We still train with them and stuff, and he's a really good coach. And then Nick's pretty much the exact same. They're both still as passionate. They both cry as much as each other, which is really good. But yeah, probably those two boys are really good.
Very good.
Yeah.
It's a funny story with both of them. I take my hat off to both of them, and in particular with Mitch with his pathway in regard. I don't know a great deal about Nick, and I'm loving the opportunity that he's getting as well. But also with Mitch, take my hat off to him in regards to having a red hot crack and getting out of the bubble, going to the West Tigers over in England now. Apparently, that's what I believe. Yeah. Taking every opportunity he's got in regards to the women's rugby league and that sort of things, and volunteer majority of that, his own services through that. And the other thing is with his communication throughout, I've found him always open and welcoming throughout the Western Clydesdales communication whenever he had that role there. So it's a credit to him. Interesting story. 47 Battalion team turns up at Valleys to train, and I sang out to who I thought was Mitch a couple of times going, "Hey Mitch, how are you, buddy? All the best, too easy, how are you?" And he just kept rushing me, kept talking away, and I thought, geez, that's rude of Mitch. I was like, I haven't done anything to upset him or do you know anything. And then a little bit later, this other bloke we got on the bus and we were heading to Kingaroy or one of those other places where we played the 47 Battalion, and I think it was someone introduced Nick to me, and I've gone, oh, the penny dropped that they're twins. So, and I apologised to Nick. Nick was pissing himself laughing because he thought it was hilarious, but little did I know that they were twins, and I was calling him out all the time and that. But anyway.
You did better than me, Cole. I didn't realise there was two of them. When I just got back, I saw Mitch in the morning at the football, and he's got long pants on. Next thing I see, he's got shorts on coming down the race. And I'm going, you went and got changed. And I saw the other one went, what? You know, there's two of them. I never even knew there was twins. I thought it was just Mitch and Mitch, but then I worked it out. But anyway, there you go.
There's a stitch up there.
Yeah.
Whilst we're on, we're swapping and changing around, we're getting around a little bit. Heath, did you want to, with your sponsors, who are your sponsors with 19s? Just give them a plug.
Yes, we've got FKG on the front of our jerseys.
Yep.
No, they're really good for us. We can't wait to be involved. I think they've just jumped on for the first time this year, so really exciting partnership that.
I think it's good that we give recognition to each sponsor that comes on board, and obviously we're chasing more through this format so that we can basically improve where we are as a professional club. Just a bit of insight in regards to your thoughts on, we've got Zach Rubb, our S&C that was formerly with the Western Clydesdales, come out of the Fit Lab industry as well with the conditioning side of things. Your thoughts on his input within our club?
Mate, Robbie's been a great inclusion. He runs the fine line between knowing when to give the boys a bit of a tune up and when to be positive with them. He's really good at what he does. The boys go away for their fitness block, they come back, they're fatigued, but they're ready to go. And it's a nice change up to have an S&C bloke, designated to that role. Coming in, he's got a plan, he takes them away, does what he needs to do, and then they're back with us for the quality with the ball and with the defence and whatever we choose to do.
Yeah, I think his mannerism and his people skills and around that, I think also to be able to, I flick him the training session outline and can you we give us a 6-minute block here, we're doing a 6-minute opposed, come back and under pressure. And I think that's the other side of it. I'll get your thoughts on that in regards to the opposed we're doing at the moment. It seems to be going to a different level each time, and the conditioning in between, which is good. So your thoughts on that?
I think it's been really good. They go and do their block with Rugby, then they rotate in, they do some of the opposed stuff. They're doing it under fatigue. It's so game similar.
Yep.
And then, naturally we're seeing the quality of their game improve because they're doing those skills under fatigue and they're getting more consistent. And, that's been a key focus of ours all pre-season.
Fantastic. Rightio, we're going to go to a wish list. Gold Park. Wish list. What would we like? What do you think would improve in the facilities, or what do we need as a club to be going down the professional path? We just spoke in episode 2 about, we seem to be looking outside our own bubble and maybe complaining. You obviously get complaints back in regards to the players are leaving to go to another club or do go to other areas too because of their going to a club that's maybe highlighting their professionalism, offers them a pathway, has the facilities that we potentially don't have. Wish list, Mark Wilkes, what were your thoughts?
If you listen to my kids, they say, get rid of that hill, walking up and down that hill. We can't do that.
Can't do that, yep.
But no, in all seriousness, if for something, for training space, if for a few cubic metres of dirt down the back there to fill that back hill in there, you got a whole...
I didn't realise how much dirt's there.
We got a whole mod field there. Gee
Yes.
whiz, like if you train down there, it stopped me and Tony Morris having to go at each other every Thursday.
So that'll be one top priority there.
Yeah, get some more acres there. Obviously, all the facilities need doing up and sort of that's in a pipeline, but it's always hard when you're sharing a facility with other clubs and other sports, and it's always preferences of over what you can do and everything like that. But yeah, that's one of the simple fixes.
I think the club does really well in both juniors and seniors do really well with the limited space that we have, and then we basically field manage that to the best of our ability. Whether we can spread that out across the 5 days within the week to make less numbers on the field, that would probably be one thing to look at. But everyone seems, but where do you find that balance between, like Chelsea just touched on before, Monday, Wednesday, Friday for rep? That only leaves Tuesday, Thursday slots. Not a big fan of training Friday nights. Personally, I think once you're a tradie or you're in a working environment within playing this level of footy, you want to basically knock off on Friday and go from there. What would be your wish list, Chelsea?
I reckon a gym would do South good. I know lots of other teams have a gym, like Valleys does, for example, and I think it would really help with the strength and conditioning that we have if we have a gym to complement it as well. And maybe make the gym open for trainers to come, for players to come at different times. That way it doesn't just have to be strictly South training and might, build a bit more culture around the club.
I think what you touched on there, and I think we've touched on it when we first did the induction in regards to where we want to head as a professional club and what we need to do. And the gym was the one key factor that we crucially need. And I think the other part of that is that with a gym, and if you have rolling training sessions where potentially you have 2 or 3 squads or in the gym, other people are on the field, and it gives you more access in that area. And the other part of that is that we spoke on episode 2 about, I think it's highlighted pretty well through the 16s and 17s that I've watched just recently, how much benefit they've got out of doing an off-season training program with a conditioner that come up with, from the Titans.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we talked about was if we haven't got that gym facility in our own backyard, we're open for a gym owner or someone like a gym franchise within the Toowoomba region to basically help us out in regards to coming on board as a major sponsor. And we basically, right from juniors, seniors, we would use that facility not only for the gym, but the recovery process as well. It's massive. I've been fortunate enough to go down to Norse Devils, and whatever the Q Cup team does, the 15s do. So whether that be you finish your training session, you're in the ice baths, you're doing the stretching, all of those parts, and then when that junior player comes into seniors, those habits are already ingrained into him in regards to that process. But it's good to get an insight, and thank you.
That's right.
Good. Heath?
Mate, I think we need a better can bar, to be honest. I think.
Yep, that sounds like a Hearn. Yep.
Well, yeah. Half will go to Chelsea's thing, half will go to the can bar.
We've just ruined the gym.
Yeah, that's gone out the back door. Mate, I think you go to some of those little towns, you go to Dalby, the can bar's chockers every week.
Yep.
They're vocal, they're there, they're out in numbers, rain, hail, shine. I think if we could give our punters a location to go and stand and drink their cans and get behind us, I think that's going to make a massive difference.
I think the thing that I've looked at over since I've come back from northern New South Wales and coming back here, in northern New South Wales, it's similar to Dalby and other areas that we have. There's a designated roped off area where the punters you can only drink in that certain area, whereas I think there's a bit more flexibility within, I might be wrong, I'm not sure, but within the TRL that you can potentially move out and maybe enjoy your beverages a little bit far, whereas Dalby's got a great fenced off area. Not only that, they've also got a couple of couches down the front for potential sponsors to get on board, and that's your little corporate box down there to socialise and that. And on the flip side of that, they make you feel very uncomfortable when you go out there and do the warm-up in front of the old boys or the can bar. So that's another tick of the box in regards to that. No, I think they've done some upgrades in regards to concreting or cementing the bar, where we are there now. But it's a really good point, and I think that's something that should be looked at. Maybe we get the mayor on the podcast and Jeff and ask him a few questions where we can upgrade the facilities or where it's heading in that direction. There's an invitation out there. We'll send it out to Jeff McDonald if you want to come on board, mate, and have a chat in regards and enlighten us in regards to where Gold Park's going and what the future for South and what the future of Gold Park looks at. Because I think we split up fairly just around the corner. Wilkes, you want to enlighten us on that?
Well, after Easter, Ernest Peak Park becomes available, so training sort of changes where we go. Sort of, some can go there and some stay at Gold Park. But another thing that, just in my opinion, that's always going to be hard with South now that we obviously Toro Park's gone, Tropicana's years ago, and all that. But just as far as a club without a clubhouse is. I know it's only a place to stay, but it's a thing about memorabilia and photos and trophies and all that, you know what I mean, and history and, you know what I mean, if you lose people like Rexy Zeman and Keith Canning, no one will know what's happened in South for the last 50 years, you know what I mean? So I know there's no perfect fix for all that, but somehow we've got to stay some connection to that and some way of having access to that and people being aware of things like things that have gone past and, you know, and I think players and that. It's very hard.
I think it's massive in regards to, we've got to respect the past and also grow the seeds for the future in that aspect. I think the other thing is that it highlighted to me that, you know, going to the dressing rooms, even the changing rooms down the bottom oval, hence the reason why we put the posters around the walls and trying to create some environment where our history's there or a club ownership or there's a connection there as well. And even with the dressing rooms at the top oval, there's an opportunity for that to be highlighted through, some images and posters on walls and recognition of the past that we've been, and give that recognition through that as well, through Keith Canning, Rick Zeman and those guys and their contribution to the club. So maybe, the wish list is a clubhouse, and I think it'd be ideal that, that premises up the top part there, that little clubhouse that looks over the oval, is absolutely Mickey Mouse or sensational, but I believe the Rangers or the club Toowoomba utilise that for other facilities as well. So it's great to have a wish list, and it'd be a great insight in regards to what the council is looking to do with it in regards to the whole club. So we've got to utilise those facilities within there as well. Is there anything? What are your thoughts on the connection between the juniors and the seniors at the moment, and what we're doing consistently, and what we can improve on? Mark.
At the moment, I think the time that I've been back at South now coaching juniors the last 7 years, it's the best it's been, and it's the same thing probably that Cam touched on last week. As much as it can be a bit of a pain at times for field space, but I think there's nothing better than juniors training before seniors, you know what I mean? Especially like there's grades there from 12s and 13s that are still training when seniors are training. At least they can see it, they can touch it, they know what's happening, they know what's there, you know what I mean? So, and the same as anything, club's built around people, and if you haven't got people that want to have the connection between the juniors and the seniors, well, you're buggered. And at the moment, we're lucky enough that we do have people that are pushing that way and trying to keep that connection and working hard, you know what I mean? We've got people like Ethan that's came to so many games of 17s last year, boys, you know what I mean, and watched them and seen them and play, and you've got Gus that runs water and people like that are involved with it, you know what I mean? You're people like Matt Gainey that he'd coach every day of the week if he could, at every grade if he could, because he's involved with it and he's pushing through the whole thing, and that's what you need, is just good people, and hopefully you just keep those good people going, and that connection's always just going to naturally be there.
I think you hit the nail on the head, and I think that's was highlighted last night. We had some conversations after our training last night and highlighted that in regards to what Cam said last week in regards to when we're training the 16, 17s and watching in regards to role models, not only role models, but what their opportunities are when they get that opportunity to come up into the seniors as well. So the funny story with Matt Gainey, I spoke to him on Sunday. We have a bit of a reflection of the games and of the juniors and how they went and everything else and that. So I went there on Saturday purposely just to see if to watch the games, but also if our seniors got the opportunity to run the canteen on the top oval if they needed a hand. And well done to the Cameron family that look after that. They do a fantastic job. And not only that, it was great to see that some of the senior players had gone up and offered to assist if need be, and young Tate and a few others got up there and had a chat and see if they needed assistance there. But it was also good to go and sit on the bench and watch Matt Gainey / Ricky Stewart in the flesh, him about what he does and how he goes about it and that. And for an under-13 team, it was very intense and very well coached, and he's got some good offsiders there with Johnny and Arnold Anderson. I think it's Arnold, is it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Arnie.
Yeah, so it's a good balance there. But it was interesting. Matt told me that he had a look at his kilometre radar the next day on his watch, and it had accumulated to about 20,000 or 30,000 steps, which is equivalent to about 20 Ks walking on that day. And I related to him that it might have been just in the under-13s when he was pacing up and down the sideline. He does a lot of pacing, young Ricky. I'm going to call him Ricky Gainey.
His
wife is named Rick. So, yeah.
His watch is on his arm, so he's always throwing them in the air. So it's not necessarily steps, It's just his blow-ups.
He's it's a credit to him. Like the first conversation I had with him in regards to potentially coming over to South, his passion for the game, and not only does he coach the lads, or I think he coaches 2 or 3 teams, he helps out other teams and that, but he's also at the forefront of doing the fitness and doing everything with them as well. And he's also, a parent. I think that's the other thing that you've got to look at, and how he keeps that relationship with his young fella and keeping the coach in balance, and then trying to keep parents happy with the amount of game time their kids get, or coaches happy. And it's a bloody tough gig, and I take my hat off to him. So it's good to have a chat every now and again about that, which is good. What about, have you got any coaching aspirations as from the rugby league side of things? Would you look like Chelsea? Would you go down that path?
Maybe when I finish playing my own footy.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd like to coach rep footy one day, but I do know there's a lot of work that goes into it. I remember Dougie last year, because he's semi-retired, he was saying it's a full-time job, but because he's semi-retired, it's not too bad. But yeah, I would like to one day, or even if I have kids, coaching them in under 6s or something. But yeah, maybe one day.
It's I think it's a good learning curve now. I think the amount of resources that are out there I think it's absolutely flooded in regards to what you can do. And I think there's times where I've gone, well, holy dooly, I need to shut that down and just go back to the old coaching or the old style that I used to, that we've been encouraged or coached ourselves. Jeff Wade gives a great analogy on that. There's 2 goalposts at either end. There's 100 metres in between. You just got to get the ball over the try line. Don't overcomplicate it. Have good people skills. That's probably the key factor. And I think in my experience, coming right through, it's nearly 85 people skills now and 15% coaching. It's getting tougher and tougher in regards to that. And I think along with that, my engagement with trying to recruit players or retain players, some come to you with a cigarette paper resume and want a 2-page contract.
Yeah.
Others come to you with they haven't got a resume, but they probably end up being your best player or best person that you've got within your club and that sort of thing as well, just taking it up. But the other interesting thing is we're probably too fortunate here. I don't think these two have got kids yet, not that I'm aware of. But how do you find the balance between coaching and being a parent and being a father?
I quite enjoy it. I've coached all of my kids somewhere along the line, and I always say to them, I hope you come home one day and say, Billy Bloggs, whoever. I've got him as my coach, as the best coach I've ever had. That's all I hope for. I don't hope that they think that I'm the best coach, but I'll always coach my kids that want me to coach them, and any other kid that wants to come along for the ride, they're welcome to come. But I don't proclaim to be the best coach. I try and give them the skills, but yeah, if they get someone else as a great coach, there's nothing better than them to say, oh, this is my favourite coach, this is this, and because that's what it's all about. If you can find a coach that you connect with and the player loves that coach, they'll play so much better than they would have for a bloke that's just teaching them the basics of the game. So, yeah. But, yeah, well, without football, I suppose, it's like Ernie said, football is family time sometimes, but as much as my wife does discuss sometimes for the last few months, it was 7 days a week. There was games or training every day, but now that Clydesdale's finished for me, it's eased up. It's cruisy now. So,
it was interesting, like, I won't go back on my own reflection, but where does Mark Wilkes find his little rocking chair moment, or he's sitting with a fishing rod? Where does he find his moment where he switches off from rugby league, or do you switch off from rugby league?
Probably not really. always thinking. If you see the dash of my truck, my work truck, I've got just page after page of drills and skills and stuff that I'll write down for training, and they sit on the dash for the day that you haven't quite planned a training session. You'll go through them and pull them out and do a few different things, or things you see, you write down and change. Look, the same old story. If you think you've invented something new in rugby league, you're kidding yourself. You've only rehashed something that someone else has done, or you've just found the same thing that they've found. So yeah, but no.
It's interesting you say that, because I think they become the AIs of the new social media in regards to putting up different clips or different things. Oh, this is how we do tackle, do whatever. I still can't get it. Like, you've got to have good contact to start with. Got to have the courage to actually make contact. You've got to be able to execute a leg tackle. The rest of it, it's just sometimes, like I said, it gets flooded with those the resources that are out there. So
you don't want to overcomplicate a simple game.
Nah.
As Jason Baker once said, if we score more points than them, we win. He wasn't a very clever man, but he was right.
The Jason Baker from Oakey?
Oakey, the player for South, that's him.
That's him.
That's him. That was his pre-match talk one day.
I like that. It's the old cliche of, it was a game of two halves. Duh. Yeah, it's a very open statement, which is good. So, Ethan, coaching ambitions, what are they?
Mate, I don't really know. Try and get through this year at the moment.
Okay.
I'd love to put some silverware on the shelf with these 19s.
Yep.
Another couple of years with these 19s, knowing there's another couple of good groups of juniors coming through. That's a really exciting prospect for me. I'd love to coach first grade side here and there.
Yep.
Beyond that, not sure.
Good on you. I think that's the key ingredient there. I think we'd be basically just taking one step at a time, and you're achieving that very well. I think within the 19s that you've got a great group of young men there to start with, great people. There's definitely some characters in there. I think we touched enough on the few characters that we do have, the Fletcher Tate Roaches and that through that as well. So, but, even the development of some of the younger players from when we started pre-season to where they're at now, is a massive improvement, and I think that's been just because everything's inclusion, which is good. Darcy Dan probably comes to mind in regards to the improvement that he's done, not only with his fitness, his footwork, and he's always listening and open to feedback where he needs to learn as well. So it was interesting having Dusty train with us last night for the first time, and Darcy's given him advice in regards to what he, to be proactive rather than being reactive. So that might have been prompted by myself, but it was just a good insight, because Darcy came in with the same, looked really good in the opposed in the 19s, and then when he got put in with the A grade boys, it was like he was a bit shell shocked, or I have to change my role and things like that. I said, no, mate, what you've been doing in the 19s is what we need you to do within the seniors, which is good. So,
mate, he's been a really good leader in our group too. He really jumped in day one, and he's been trying to sign players. He's been calls me occasionally and
Yep.
ideas of blokes he wants to get over. And in terms of the preseason, he's been probably one of our best. He's been top 3 in the 19s without a doubt.
The other good thing about that, you talk about mentors and that, he's obviously got, he's got a great uncle called Paulie McKellar that keeps his feet firmly on the ground. I pump his tyres up, Darcy, and then the moment he comes off and Paulie sees him, and then Paul just cuts his ankles out from underneath him and brings him back down to earth very quickly. But Pete and Trace, great people, great family people, and then Lisa and Paul, we're privileged to have them in the background helping out with him as well, as guiding him along to be a good young man, which is good. Wilkesy, what's the future with yourself and the ladies? Where are they at? The girls that you coach against ours, when does their season start, or has it already started? They've had a couple games?
We've already started. We've played two games pre-season competition. We got now holidays off, and we got one more game, and then the season starts. So it's a bit different this year. They're playing more or less like a pre-season comp, and then we play everyone once more or less. So then it's 9 weeks, and then we're into the season. So
And you're happy with the squad?
Yeah, well, we've got a fair few numbers on paper. It's a bit hard. South always rely on St Saviour's, St Ursula's borders, which are good, a good bunch of girls, but it's always hard either side of that holiday period. A lot of them go home. We've got girls, way up north, and so they go home a week early and they come home a week later. So it seems the more you pay at boarding school, the less you got to go to school, sort of thing. So we're always a bit short either side of school holidays, but now the Clydesdales has finished with those 17 girls. We got 4 or 5 to come back from that, so which is good, makes a sort of a good core of the squad. So we'll go all right, I think.
Have all the clubs got a girls team in that age group?
Yeah. This year, last year Valleys didn't have 17s, but they're back in again. And this year Gundy got 17. So Gundy got 17s, Warwick got 17. So it's pretty full on comp. Gatton were struggling for numbers, but they've fielded a team the last 2 weeks, so looks like they've got a team, so which is good. So it's gonna be a full round, which is good.
Good to hear. And I believe the South ladies have a little bit of a boost just recently with a bit of an inclusion with, unfortunately, Brothers ladies team has folded and they've come on board. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, we had a few at training last night, but we should have more coming, which would be good.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
So within the BMD squad, what are your ambitions there to knuckle down? What position? What position do you see yourself? What do you want to grab?
Well, I want to play lock. I want to be the starting lock. And then I also play front row as well.
Okay.
But it is a bit harder with those positions. Like we have Steph Hancock coming back at front row, and then Jess Reeves. She played, you might know her. Those 2 girls, so that's our fronties right there. And then Kiara Taylor's a good lock. But yeah, it's like just about like even though I may be younger and not as strong as them, like I can still play as good as them. So yeah, I want to try and get those positions. If not, come off the bench and come into them.
Great confidence, and I've visually seen you doing a pose with the men, and you definitely can. Let's just say you don't lack ability or confidence within your contact. Let's put it that way for sure. And how big a squad is it?
I think we've got about 40 girls.
Yep.
Yeah, fair big squad.
And you're getting the feedback that you need to improve each time with your 1%ers?
Yeah, just need to be confident in my contact and defence. And, like, if I play lock, I'm more of a ball-playing lock. So got to, get in and play that ball-playing role and stuff like that. And because last year us 19s came up, so we were a little bit, like, shyer, like, not as talky as much. So this year he wants us to really step up and act as leaders. And the 19s that are coming up this year to kind of take them under our belt. So, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And how does your, like with Nick's structure, the training sessions on Mondays, what would be a typical Monday session?
Monday, normally we do con first. We would do like 30, 40 minute con block. And then the rest would be skills. And we have like set amount of times, similar to your structure, set amount of time at a drill, and we have to run to the next one, get a water. But yeah, normally Monday I think is defence, and then that's wrong, attack. Wednesday we train at Clive, so it's a big defence session. Connor's always first, and then Friday we're trying to get into opposed sessions on Friday.
Good.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, watching the game, I'm still loving the ladies' game in regards to it's still open and a little bit raw in certain areas.
Yeah.
Is there the wrestle component coming into the game?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Like last year we versed Brisbane Tigers. Like all those girls, like they went through the whole season undefeated for BMD. There's not you run at the winger and you're gonna get dropped. Like so, I remember I was playing front row for that game and I couldn't make any meters because like it wasn't just me. All of us girls couldn't because they're just so strong in their defense. So yeah, definitely some teams do lack it more than others, but it's definitely growing with more teams getting stronger each year.
So do you think that part of that the strength and the gym component of that works in with the wrestle as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah. We actually had 2 guest speakers come the last 2 Fridays. We had a wrestler fella, his ex-wife used to play with us. He came and did some wrestling sessions with us last Friday Friday before, and then last Friday we had Embrace Consulting come, which is like a military style training, which is really hard, and we're on harnesses and we have to crawl on the ground and we're getting pulled back, it was mentally tough, but it was good. It was really good. Yeah.
So you had to work together as a team, through that.
Yeah.
I think I might have seen them at another club within Toowoomba doing the same
Yeah,
thing.
did it at Brothers, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's coincidental. So, but that's a good insight. I think, the game's involving in there with you guys as well, which is good. So, just lost my train of thought for 2 seconds. Can we break?
We're ending here in 10 minutes.
All right. We might want to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Because I'm running out of content. Too easy. In conclusion, with episode 3, I just want to thank our guest, Ethan Hearn, our under-19s coach. Wishing you all the success this year that you deserve, and obviously with your rep duties, any DD duties or any school duties that you might have?
Yeah, mate, off with the DD Opens end of May. So,
wow.
Busy with them. So
You're a very, very busy man.
Yeah, mate, love it.
Very good. And Mitch Riley said that he does not real keen on having the 19s again, so you better get that balance between club footy and juniors.
Yeah, I'll get it sorted, mate.
You'll
I'll
be
play
right.
up for Mitchell.
All good. Mark, thanks for coming on board. Mark Wilkes, man of many hats within Toowoomba Rugby League. Really appreciate it. And I've got no doubt the people that you coach and all the clubs and rep teams that appreciate what you're doing, mate. So thanks very much for being a part of the South Club overall. And you've got a fine young man in regards to young Mitch, well-mannered, well-respected, and a pleasure to coach. And he's always thirsty to learn, which is great.
Thanks for having me.
Too easy. Chels, thanks for coming on board. You broke the mould. First female to be on the podcast. I think you've got the talent to be on a lot more, which is good. And I wish you all the best with your PD, your BMD ambitions, and also we congratulate you on joining the South Tigers in regards to their family club culture. Thanks to all our sponsors. Thanks to Hugh Clark for putting this together. Once again, it's a great opportunity to expose and highlight our listeners in regards to an insight within our South Tigers Club in 2026. Get on board, and whether you're a sponsor, supporter, committee member, by all means, more than welcome. Thank you. Appreciate it.